Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. This is Chapter 50, Piercing the Darkness, in Book 4, A Deep and Creeping Darkness. And this is the last session of this chapter. This is, or rather this book being Book 4. And this is also Brooke's final episode with us. Live or die, this is the end for Kahlo. That sounded more ominous than it needed to be.
Holy
It's
shit,
not.
man.
It's very ominous. I'm fully prepared for Jake to slaughter me.
But you're not the one that's unconscious right now, so so we're gonna get started here in just a moment. Pretty much all of our announcements are at the are before the stream and during the break, so we're not going to do a bunch of announcements, but I do owe a domain tome for Everjay's resub, so thank you for that. And last week we were here to wrap up our Call to Adventure charity event with Game to Grow, where we broke $5,000 thanks to the MTD community. Because of that, and because we crossed that goal at almost 1,000 in this group, I'm feeling generous, and I'm going to honor let's see, so that was that. I am going to honor both of your resubs during the charity event.
Thank you.
Whiner Gary got his way.
If you keep
Good
giving
job,
in,
Gary.
he's
Good
gonna keep whining.
job.
Nope.
It's like a toddler.
This will make it that much sweeter when I deny him the next time.
Nah,
So you
next time
say.
I'm just gonna make sure I fucking do it during the show. Like it's not even a thing.
You gotta be
I
careful.
thought that counted, but I guess not.
you gotta be careful, because if you do it too close to Dawnbringers, you just give them the domain dice.
Oh, don't worry.
They don't deserve it.
They've got they burned through like 30 or 40 of them last session, but they still have like 140 of them. So anyway, also you'll notice that the magical blue aura where Carrie normally is, Carrie is not with us because Tira is not with us. We'll cover that in the recap in just a moment. But before we get to that, one quick thing that we want to talk about, because we always talk about this before we start playing, is just a reminder that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether or not you believe that, it's true. We know that it can be a struggle, but you do not have to struggle alone. In an effort to make help be as accessible as possible, we have made it so that all you have to do is come to our chat. You can type !help, as Cole Sparks has just done in the chat. And a couple of URLs will pop up, one for findahelpline.com and another one for takethis.org/mental-health-resources. Both of those are fantastic and free websites full of mental health resources, including findahelpline.com that you simply put in your location, hit enter, and numerous health services for wherever you are in the world will appear. We encourage you to use those, bookmark those for yourself or a friend. They are staffed by trained professionals waiting to help you. So please do use those, and remember, you matter. With that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. All right, just making sure things are working here the way they're supposed to. They don't seem to be working. Hold on. I pressed a button and nothing happened. When I say it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons, you're supposed to hear something.
There it is.
There we
That's
go.
it.
Okay.
We got it now.
So you have been delving into the city of Vermalen and into the Platinum Mine, where you very recently discovered that the mine had a whole section that was created by something that was not tool marks or claw marks. It was a magical presence. You also very quickly realized that this whole new section of tunnels was created by some influence of the Shadowfell. This black moss carpeted the floors and the ceilings of the tunnels and the walls, and began grabbing at people and trying to pull them along. Unfortunately, the archaeologist Penny Apple Blossom was lost during this, killed by the psychic damage of the black moss. You ultimately found yourself chasing after memories and specters into a large cavern in which there was a massive gelatinous form that was creating these images before you that you were fighting. And ultimately, you were able to destroy this thing. In its wake, Vorn, you found the shadowy katana and immediately grabbed hold of it, which brought you into an area surrounded by mirrors where all of your friends and allies were reflected, and you underwent a ritual of attunement to the Hand of the Queen, a very powerful magical item created by the Raven Queen specifically as a bane to Bloodraiser, known to you as the Blood Axe, currently wielded somewhere in the world by your sister Vornushka. You passed the ritual, claiming the Hand of the Queen as your own, returning from what you knew, without a doubt, you all knew you were in the Palace of Memories, the Fortress of Memories in the Shadowfell, the Raven Queen's personal fortress. You returned back to this cavern where, Vorn, you laid down all of your arms, all of your other armaments, keeping only the Hand of the Queen, and prepared to leave. Tira grabbed you by the shoulder and started to have a talk with you. At which point, one of the remnants of dark ooze on the floor, a form leapt up in the air, wrapped itself around Tira, and screamed as loud as it could. And we sort of return in this moment as this form grabs hold of Tira, grabbing her around the throat and wrapping its legs around her, screaming. The scream piercing into your very minds. Mizya and Vorn, along with Kahlo and Doc, you all watch as this form whispers something into Tira's ear and begins to drag her back, but already blackness fills your vision as you go unconscious, Vorn. And Mizya, the strain on your mind from this scream being too much for you to bear. Doc and Kahlo, you watch as this form pulls Tira down into what looks like a puddle of ooze. It sort of slurps up and then quickly settles back in. And just like that, Tira is gone. Immediately followed, though you don't hear it because all of your ears, you have that sort of echoey, very muffled, almost ringing in your ear sound from this screech. But you see Vorn and Mizya collapse nearby. You also see Manistrad Copperlocks falls unconscious. Raywin Silverthread, the medic, falls unconscious. And both of the Rack and Crack sisters fall unconscious. Kahlo and Doc, you are the only two currently awake.
Jumping Jehoshaphat's. Are we next?
Wait, what?
Are we next?
No, I think we're fine.
Mijia and Vorn, I would like you each to roll a death saving throw. Manistrad has. That is a fail.
Still working on it. Give me a second here.
Playing from MSI.
$12.
That is a success. I've also rolled for Manistrad, Raywin, and the Rack and Crack sisters. You may proceed, Doc and Kahlo. What are you doing?
You got anything to help these people? I don't have anything.
Well, yes. So out of character, I know that Mizia took a level of Artificer, but does Doc know that in character? Like, does Doc know that Mizia is any different? Have you displayed anything?
So, I guess that's kind of up to you, Dwight, to what extent, keeping in mind that since you took these levels of Artificer, some 10, 12 days has gone by that you've been traveling together and conversing, and so I don't know to what degree you would have been open about that.
I don't think I've shared much of that at all.
Okay. Then Jake, roll me a d20, and tell me if you get odds or evens.
Odd.
Okay. So Doc is going to walk up to Vorn, and he's going to cast Cure Wounds.
You said Manistrad fell too.
Correct.
Can I go search the body, like their possessions, to see if anyone has a potion?
He's going
you
to
can absolutely do that.
Put some moss in his mouth, chew it up, get some black powder, smush it all together in his hands, and he's going to gently slap Vorn in the face, like not aggressively, but more like I just boop, wake up, Vorn. And Vorn, you get 9 health back.
Go.
Kahlo, give me an investigation check as you run over to the fallen members of your party, your mining team.
18 investigation.
With that, you know for a fact and are able to find... roll me a d4 real quick.
2.
You are able to find on Raywin Silverthread, the gnome medic. She has 2 standard healing potions in her medic's bag.
Okay. Love you, Misha, but I would probably go to give one to Manistrad first. I'll bring the other if Doc's not there yet.
I need Mijia to roll another death saving throw. Do not roll a 1. I don't like
That's
that.
a 13.
Okay, that's a success. This is not our game on for charity, so it is not meat grinder mode. You don't need a 15 or better. You only need a 10 or better. Vorn, Doc, how much did you heal, Vorn?
9.
So Vorn, you suddenly come to consciousness.
And Vorn looks up. Doesn't have any of his weapons around him.
I mean, you piled everything on the floor, so yeah.
Yeah, but there's that moment of like, what did I do? Like muscle memory, where you reach for something and it's not there. That's what I'm looking for. And he looks around and he looks at the group. Where's Tira?
No time to answer that question now, Vorn. People are dying.
I don't care. Where is she?
She's gone. It took her.
What is it?
Yeah, and I'm pouring the first potion down Manistrad.
I've already counted for that.
Getting up and heading towards Misha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling death saves for the others.
Well, by the time you're done with Manistrad, I would be
Go to Misha already.
at Mizia, yeah.
Then I would go to, if there's somebody else on my team.
There's the medic, Raywin Silverthread.
I will go to the medic because it seems like the medic would be able to help other people.
Okay.
And Vorn's looking around, seeing the state of everyone else. What is the condition of, as Vorn comes to consciousness, looking around, what is he seeing?
So as you're looking around, you're seeing Kahlo rushing over, pouring a potion into a very pale-looking Manistrad Copperlocks. You see, as soon as you wake up, Doc moves over towards Mizia to attend to them. You see, after Manistrad starts to sort of cough and sputter a bit from the healing potion, you see Kahlo heading over to the gnome medic. And then there's two unconscious dwarves, the Rack and Crack sisters, nearby. There's no sign of Tira anywhere.
So Doc will go into his satchel, pull out some moss, chew it up, get a fleck of black powder, smush it together, and then gently slap Mizia in the face. Wake up, Mizia! Take back 15 hit points.
And lose one for getting slapped. No.
I'm gonna guess that even if Doc intends it to be a light slap, Doc's abnormal strength and Miz's very slight size results in them kind of just rolling over and then groggily shaking their head. Oh, doctor. My head hurts so much. What happened?
Oh, yes. Well, a lot of things, actually. It's kind of a long story, but I'm trying to save people's lives now. Do you mind if I tell people? Do you mind if I tell you later?
Yes, please. Do go ahead.
And Vorn yells out to Doc, "Save our lives from what? What's in here? What's trying to kill us?"
I already told you I don't have time to tell you anything, Mizia. Wait, no, who are you? Vorn. Vorn. I don't have time to tell you anything, Vorn. I already said that.
I don't understand what it was. It was because it was like the same kind of slimy stuff before, right? Or did she just go?
Yes and no. What you saw was one of the pools of slime that was left behind when this big thing was killed.
Yeah.
Suddenly burst up with a humanoid form, but it looked almost like this combination of slime and this black moss. It wrapped itself around Tira, dragged her down into the puddle, which is actually about 2 feet away from you, Vorn, this puddle that Tira was dragged into. I will
point at it and I'll say, whatever it was, it took her down there.
So there's a puddle 2 feet away from me. I look at it and Vorn reaches his right hand out to the sky, and this like shadowy katana takes form in his hand, and he goes, that's nice. And he steps towards the puddle, and he's going to look at it and kind of prod to see if it's deep or not inside of it, or if it's just like to the surface. So he's stabbing the katana, the shadowy katana that's manifested in his hand, and stabbing into the puddle. Can I feel the ground?
I want you to roll me a D100. And tell me what you get.
80.
80?
Uh-huh.
Let me do some math real quick. Okay. You start prodding inside this puddle, and everywhere you prod around, the end of your blade is touching stone. And you can sort of move it around, and you can see that this is just a shallow spot on the floor. There is
In
no depth
here,
to it.
Are you sure?
That's where it was. I'm sure.
Born, we're really busy right now. Can you hang on a second? And Doc will go over to the next person who's unconscious.
As in this interim, as Kahlo had revived Raywin Silverthread, kind of shaking her head and coming to, she looks around and immediately rushes over to where the Rack and Crack sisters are. She starts tending to Wordred, but Werid is still unconscious. So is that then who you're going to, Doc?
Sure.
Okay.
So he's going to go into his pack, grab the moss, chew it up, get the powder, sprinkle it on, rub it together, and gently slap her in the face. For 11 points of healing.
Okay. As soon as you slap her in the face, you see her eyes sort of roll around for a second, and then they focus in on you. You get just this half smile from her, and then suddenly she frantically looks around and she sees over next to her where Raywin is leaning over Wordred. And just as Werid looks over at her, you see Raywin kind of look over and just reaches up and gently closes her eyes and looks and just shakes her head. She's gone.
Who's gone?
Wordred. It was too much for her.
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Werid pushes past you, Doc, and runs over to her fallen sister and is shaking her and kind of almost forcefully pulls her up into her lap and is holding on to her and kind of shaking her and rocking with her. And you all hear this sound that starts as a low, deep sound and builds in intensity until you just hear Werid Rack and Crack let out a wail of absolute despair as she is just sobbing openly, holding her dead sister.
Doc is going to reach into his pack, and he's going to pull out a length of what looks to be silver chain with clasps at the end, silver manacles, and he's going to gently tap the living sister on her shoulder. Which one is the living one? I'm a Werid.
Werid.
Werid. Werid.
She's openly sobbing and wailing at this point.
He's going to turn around so he can look at her and he's going to give her. He's basically going to thrust the silver manacles between the dead sister and the living one. And he's going to say, I can't do it myself, but I understand magic is very powerful. And sometimes, maybe, if you find the right person, death isn't the end. But I can't say for sure. And he's going to gesture to the silver manacles, and he's going to say, that's 600 gold pieces worth of silver. That should maybe at least get you the information you need. It's better than nothing. I don't need these anymore.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
It's kind of you, Doc.
You can do it. You know what? Okay, we're gonna do it this way. And then okay. So Doc's eyes go milky white for a second. And he's taken back to a moment, and all he hears is sobbing. He can't see where it's coming from, but all he can hear is the echo of a phrase, and he turns his ear to it, and he listens and strains, and almost on a whisper, he hears someone from somewhere say, "Death is not the end." And I got 21 persuasion.
Okay. As you say these words to her and you pass off this, these manacles, she's still openly weeping. But she stops wailing and she looks at her sister, and she presses the manacles into her sister's hands and crosses them over her chest, and she looks up at you. And she just gives you this silent nod of thanks. Raywin comes over and has her hands on her shoulders and is comforting her as best she can. Manistrad looks around at you and to you, Kahlo. That was quick thinking. Thank you. Where's the girl?
Which girl?
I look at Vorn.
Kira, where is she? And Vorn is looking around, and his eyes are flashing purple and red, so like a purplish red, as he's trying to reach out with psionic energy, trying to search for her, even though that's not what it's for. But he's just kind of looking and trying to find her.
I think at this point, having kind of gathered myself, I will have cast Cure Wounds on myself as well to regain some more hit points. And I'm going to walk over to Vorn, and I'm just going to like place my hand on his arm. It's It's all right, Vaughn. I'll help you look for her. And I just kind of I'm still a little foggy. Where did we see her last?
And
I
Vorn,
point again.
Okay. And then I'll go over to the spot and just see if I can see anything. I'm not going to touch anything, but I'm just going to check out the pool.
I'll come look at it with you.
Check for any kind of magical energy or anything like that.
You can make a Arcana
Can I
check.
aid Misha with like looking at the magic?
Yeah. So you can make a Arcana check with advantage.
That is a nat 20 for a 26.
Okay.
I'm glad I had that advantage because my other dice was a 1.
The best kind of advantage.
Mm-hmm.
As you are looking at this substance, there's a couple things that you glean from it with that 26. This creature that was inhabiting this place, and the moss and even the way in which it was carved out. This was all done through influence of the Shadowfell. Most likely because of your participation in the attunement ritual with Vorn for the sword. It's likely that the sword's presence was creating a rift between the material plane and the Shadowfell, allowing whatever other entities to come into this place and wreak havoc. Based on the lore that you know from Manistrad and from the book of A Deep and Creeping Darkness, this probably happened preceding the explosion in the mine 70 years ago. That this, either the sword came or the Shadowfell, one or the other, and has been responsible for the missing people and basically the downfall of Vermaelen.
Does it seem like this rift is closed now?
That's the other
Can you
thing
tell?
that you're picking up, is these puddles that are sort of spread out are residual Shadowfell essence that will eventually evaporate. You can already tell that some of them are just showing the very beginning signs of evaporating. That once the living form that they were has disincorporated. But you also know that if enough of it is combined into one location, you could possibly recreate the rift or create a gateway into the Shadowfell.
So, if one were to, you know what? Misha, I just lean down, I reach into my satchel and I pull out this little leather pouch. And I just start dipping it into this pool, and I scoop as much up as I can. And I dip it in again.
Are you sure
I
that's a
scoop
good
more.
idea?
I don't know, but if this is a connection to the Shadowfell, and that seems to be where Tira has gone, and I feel if we can put enough of this together, we can potentially open a gate to get there. So, and this pouch that I have, because I remembered that I'm an artificer and that I can do this now, I have crafted a bag of holding for myself. So I'm just going to scoop as much of this into this bag as I can.
I thought you were just grabbing a regular leather bag.
Nope.
So you are using a bag of holding,
Mm-hmm.
which is an extra dimensional space,
Mm-hmm.
to scoop elements of a Shadowfell rift into.
That's why I said, is this a good idea?
You said if I can get enough of it in one place.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
Oh Lord.
I want you to roll me a D100.
Break the GM. Let's go.
It was a fun campaign, guys. Thanks.
We're gonna explode the universe. It's about to unravel. I'm excited and nervous.
It is a 67.
We should create another universe if you think about it. Kind of like a black hole.
Okay, so you rolled a 67. There was a 50% chance that a thing was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 44. Split that. That means you needed to get, in order for this thing to happen, whether you wanted to or not, that would be a 69 was the
Nice.
cap. And you rolled a 67. You all watch as Mizia is starting to scoop some of this stuff into the small leather bag and is scooping quite a bit, though the bag does not seem to be getting bigger. And there's this moment where as Mizia, as you're starting to scoop into the bag this stuff, you sort of pull your hand away and it looks like there's wisps of shadow falling away like dry ice that heads for the ground from your hand. And you all watch as Mizia begins to dissipate into shadow. Mizia, I would like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh Lord.
Doc, I don't feel so good.
Oh no! Don't you dare! No!
That's a 19. And then a 19.
As you begin to dissipate into shadow, Mizia, you feel that you can resist this. You know that you have collected enough in this bag that you basically, how long it'll last and how stable it is, you don't know. But you know you essentially have created a temporary portable Shadowfell gate. Your constitution was one more than what you needed to have the choice of whether you want to resist it or be pulled into the Shadowfell now. So that choice is yours. But you know that for however long this lasts and however it remains stable, any of your party or all of you could enter through this gate into the Shadowfell. But it is a gate, which means it's two-way.
You see Misha just kind of looks right at Doc and just like fades like 90% out of existence and then just like pops back. Oh my. That may not have been the best idea, but
No!
I think that I may have found a way to go look for Tira.
Well, I mean, great. You could have dug up a child's grave again.
Well, that seemed a little bit excessive, don't you think? We've already done it once.
You're not the sharpest crayon in the box, are you? let's
I
avoid that again.
Very offended by that comment. Listen, I will be the first to admit, while I do have a much higher than normal intelligence, the street smarts, so you say, the practical application of that knowledge may not be my forte. So,
Well, I'm just glad you're all right. In one piece.
Yes, me too. Do you mind if I take a look?
sure, and I will hold the bag out towards
Oh,
Doc.
no, you can hold on to the bag. I'll look at it in situ. And Doc is going to walk over and he's going to tap himself on the chest and he's going to say, "You can do it." And he's going to break out his magnifying glass. And
Nice.
he's going to like look into the portal and he's going to make an investigation check. And he's going to do it with advantage since I purchased myself a tome with whining and it worked.
Do it.
You know what? I'm going to use this lovely lapis lazuli die from my friend at Talon and Claw. Oh shit! Is that a? That is a. Doc his eyes go white again, and a moment flashes in his mind. There's a shadowy figure sitting on a throne made of bone, and all he can hear in his mind from this shadowy figure is "Find the path." Okay. That is an investigation check of 36.
Okay. So you're peering into the bag, in through the gate?
No, not looking through the gate. Not looking into the bag. Sure, I'll look into the bag. Whatever.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What?
No,
what
no, no.
exactly
I wasn't
are you
looking
doing?
at. He's looking in the pool where Tira disappeared.
Well, that pool is now in Mizia's bag.
There. Oh, okay, sure. Then I'll
That's
look
what
into that.
Mizia scooped up, was all the
I see.
goo that made that pool up.
So I'll just
Okay.
hold the bag open for you to peer into.
Okay.
It's a lot like the pensieve in Harry Potter, or looking into the basin of water. I can't think of what it's called now. When in Lord of the Rings, that Galadriel is showing, looking up Frodo. It's less like looking into the bag, and it's more like looking into a black reflective surface. And with that high of a roll, as you're looking in, you see through, even though you're looking, Mizia's holding this bag like this, you're looking down, and it's as if you're looking through a gate this way. And you can see sort of the landscape where everything is sort of drab and gray, and you see what looks like bare trees in the foreground on either side, and in the distance, very far in the distance, you can make out what appears to be the silhouette of a city. And as you're looking in, you see on either side of all around the edge, basically anywhere, as you try to look at it, sort of at your periphery, anytime you try to look directly at it, it seems to vanish, but you see images, catch glimpses of movement in your periphery of humanoid figures.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't as helpful as I was hoping. But there is a city. I assume that the geography of the Shadowfell is roughly equivalent to this one, just in a different space or so. It's hard to say. And he's going to whisper as he has his head in the bag. He's going to whisper something into it, and he's going to clasp between his fingers a laboratory slide and he's going to drop it into the gate.
Okay. It vanishes.
Well, it's going somewhere, all right.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Vorn, what are you doing in these moments that Mizya's collecting and Doc is peering into what appears to be the Shadowfell in a bag?
TM Shadowfell sack.
Ah,
Beat me to it. I was forming the
Damn
words
it.
on my
damn
lips.
it.
Vorn is looking around, wrapping his mind around the idea that the door to where Tira may be at is inside the sack. And we're still in the mine, correct?
You are.
Vorn looks around and looks at Kahlo and says, so the way to get Tira is through there. What other business do we have here first?
I look at Manistrad.
Manistrad says, well, and she's kind of looking around at this massive cavern with all of these exposed veins of platinum, and there's you can see there's some crystal formations and a few rough uncut gemstones in the walls. As she's looking around, and she looks at you, Kahlo, and says, this is what we came for. And she looks at all of you. I have no authority over you, but at this point, what you were hired to do is completed. I need to go back to the surface and contact the mining consortium. I can make arrangements for travel back to Candlekeep, if that's where you'd like to go. But I would advise, before you do anything, rest. You all look like hell.
Rest in this town with everything that we've done? Oh. Mizya, are you sure that we can get to where Tira's at with what you have in your bag?
Oh, not at all. We can get to the Shadowfell with what's in my bag. I think that's where Tira might be, but I don't know that for certain. It makes sense given what we saw, but nothing is certain.
That's good enough for me. Yeah, we are tired. I just don't want to sleep here. I don't want to sleep in this mine. I don't want to sleep in this town. What do the rest of you think?
Well,
It seems to me that we've cleansed the town of all its evil. So that's really a counterintuitive statement.
Counterintuitive?
Yes, that's right.
I do agree with the doctor. I think this town will be safe. And I just kind of gesture around. I'm relatively certain that whatever this was that we did away with was causing the problems. We should be okay.
And since we have a 1/5 stake in this mine, we should definitely wait and see the examination of all of the platinum and uncut gems and quartz and crystals of all natures.
Somebody should go back and tell Lucas about the necklace. We still got that.
Well, yes, but not right this second.
Everybody make a perception check, please.
Doc is great at perception.
Percepting. All right, let's go. 12.
N.
0.
Vorn, what'd you get?
21.
Vorn, you are the one that sees, as you are all talking about the safety of this place, you notice that over Mizya's shoulder, one of the walls, there's what appears almost to be a bloom of bioluminescent fungi along the wall. And it seems to be rapidly expanding in this very pale greenish blue light. It starts to spread. You realize that it's taking on the shape of a human face as more of it begins to appear, and you see a glowing spectral humanoid figure stepping out of the wall. She is a woman, though she is this sort of glowing blue and translucent. You see that she wears the simple clothing of what a miner might wear. She, you can even see the sort of shadows of what would be soot stains on her face. You see that she was in life probably a very fit woman with she has her hair sort of pulled back and under a I can't think of the word, a cloth of some kind, a wrap, but you can see that in life that she was a fit black woman, and she steps forward out of the wall towards all of you. Her feet never quite touching the ground as she floats forward. Do any of you say or do anything as she moves towards you?
I'm just staring.
Who has the necklace?
Doc does.
Were you going to say something, Mizya?
Just hello.
She moves forward, and as she does so, you see the cloth and even sort of the edges of her tunic and her trousers. They move as if underwater. And she sort of glides towards each of you, and then she kind of locks in on you, Doc, and suddenly she moves forward until she's about 18 inches from you. And she's sort of floating in front of you, moving back and forth. You have Lucas's necklace.
Yes, he asked us to retrieve it, and so we did.
I'm so happy he is still alive.
Yes.
I am Lorna.
Oh, hello, Lorna.
You placed flowers on my grave.
He told us about you, Lorna.
I am glad he still lives. I've always felt a piece of him was left behind here.
He still thinks of you fondly, but now perhaps that this piece of him that is going home to him, maybe you can go home too. You don't need to stay here now if you don't want to.
I will go home when it is time. I came to tell you something.
Oh,
I came to tell you thank you on behalf of everyone in Vermalen. And as she says this, blue light begins to illuminate all around the cavern. Up along the ceiling, the floors, the walls, as several more spectral figures begin to emerge. You see mostly human, a handful of dwarves, half-elven. There's a handful of children. All in all, there's probably about 50 or 60 ghosts that emerge from the walls. And they sort of form this floating hedge all around all of you. You destroyed the creature that killed us. It was keeping all of us from passing into the beyond. For that, we are all grateful.
We hope you can rest now.
You see several of them already are, as they are emerging, they're stepping forward and they reach out to each of you, passing for a moment a hand across a cheek, or to touch your hand, to place a hand on your shoulder. And everywhere they touch you, you feel a momentary coldness. And a little bit of their ethereal light seems to linger and turn to warmth. And this happens again and again as, in turn, each of these specters are reaching out to touch you. And as they do so, they dissipate. Some of them start to move in towards the ceiling or towards the exits, and as they do so, they just turn into what becomes light reflecting off of the crystals and the platinum. And by the time these spirits are all done swirling around you and thanking you, you are all returned to full health as they heal you with their spectral touch. Lorna Grosvenor stands in the midst, watching all of them as they all pass, and the final one is a specter of the mayor, Duvazen, who pauses to look at Lorna. And then she turns to look at all of you one final time and just dissipates. Lorna sort of floats back over by you, Doc. You can keep that necklace, or you can do with it what you will. It has served its purpose. And do you have the necklace out, Doc, or did you have it in a pocket, or?
yeah, I I had it in a pocket, but would have taken it out as soon as she started talking about it.
You feel the necklace sort of pulling against your hand, and the pendant begins to rise up out of your hand. Do you let it go?
Sure.
As it floats up, it's hovering about a foot above your hand. And it begins to glow with its own light. And then you see, standing next to you, a new specter appears. This one familiar. As Lucas Grosvenor's ghost appears next to you. Well, I gotta thank you. You brought peace to my Lorna, and have allowed me to know that peace. And I have let go. Finally. And she smiles at him. And he kind of looks at all of you one last time and he says, "Now, if you don't mind, I've got 70 years to make up for." And he floats towards Lorna. And as the two of them embrace, and you see their spectral images hugging and then kissing, they begin to swirl around one another. And they dissipate up into the ceiling, and the platinum pendant drops into your hand, Doc. And that's where we're going to take our break.
All right.
I see that from around the world, Carrie's joining us in chat. One, you did the morally opposite thing of digging up a child's grave. And two, did he just Bruce Willis us? Not quite. I think you can all surmise that in this moment he let himself pass away so that he could join his wife. Now, we are going to take about a 10-minute break while I figure what the heck is going to happen in the second half. All right. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in so far. Stick around. We will be back in just 10 minutes. We'll see you on the other side of this break. And we're back. All right. So we're going to... well, I don't want to fast forward too much, but because I want to know what you all are... What are you planning to do? In this current state, you know that you have put all the souls to rest. You have cleansed this mine. This is now a viable mine. It's a safe place. As safe as a mine can be. You know that you have, at best, an unstable Shadowfell gate in a sack. And you know that that's where Tira was taken. Manistrad has said that they are going to contact someone. And also you were all healed by the ghosts, so you're all at full health. You don't have any of the other benefits of long rest, so you still have burns, spell slots, all that kind of stuff. What would you all do in the immediacy after these ghosts leave?
Well, I think we should probably sit down for a while.
And if Vorn is going to agree, but do you mind if we do it and get some fresh air? I like to see the sky.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Yes, we should definitely sleep under the open sky out of this cave, which is completely safe.
Raywin Silverthread says, Could a couple of you help? and indicates the
Body.
body of the Rack and Crack sister that has passed.
I will
Yeah.
come.
Vorn's absolutely going to help. And Vorn's going to think to himself, well, say to the group, Tira's strong. She's tough. I think she can take care of herself until we find her. And he's saying it in a way that like he's hoping she can take care of herself until we find her. And then is going to walk over with Kahlo and help. And
Doc is going to lean into Mizya and he's going to say, "Did I do it right?"
What's that, Doctor?
Sarcasm.
Well, I'm not quite sure where you were trying to be sarcastic, but
Well, I said that we should definitely sleep outside instead of this perfectly safe cave.
oh, that, you know, it's technically sarcastic. Might want to work on your delivery a little. It's a little too straightforward.
Oh, but that's how I
Have to-
talk.
It is, but perhaps if you added some inflection to your voice, you draw it out a little. Oh no, we certainly shouldn't sleep here where it's safe. Let's sleep outside where it's open and dangerous. See how that sounds? It just rolls off the tongue and you can just hear the sarcasm. Yes?
Doc is going to shout over to Vorn, "Yes, we should definitely sleep outside where it's not safe instead of here in this cave where it's safe."
I'm pulling a blanket out of my pack too, so that we can. If I drop all my stuff, kind of wrap her.
Kahlo's lantern
her.
falls off her shell. And
That's exactly what's happening as she's going through her pack. Just ting, ting, ting.
I will I'll pat Doc on the arm. That's better, yes. Keep working, but better.
And Vorn, like, with no one really to talk to at this point, kind of says to himself, it's not about being safe. Just looking up in the sky kind of gives me comfort. Yeah, Doc, I understand. We've been sleeping outside. You know what? Never mind. And his sword dissipates as he helps pick up the recently deceased sister.
do you or anybody else leave all of your other weapons behind?
I mean, Doc doesn't have a weapon to leave behind.
No, but Vorn had laid down his knives and axe and all that other stuff.
I keep my throwing axes. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Manistrad says, well, it's going to be much more comfortable if we sleep in the mayor's house or something like that. If we can believe the ghosts, then any danger should be gone. There shouldn't be anything to fear from the town. And they will begin moving out of the caves and up towards the surface.
And Vorn looks at Kahlo. Do you have any idea on how shall I say, preserve a body? Keep it.
I'm afraid that that's not quite in my wheelhouse. No.
Maybe we
It's-
should ask Doc or
Maybe
Mizzy.
the medic. Let's ask the medic.
Who, Doc?
No. We have a medic too.
Raywin Silverthread.
Yes, and I will go
I-
ask Raywin and see if she's got any ideas.
I'm gonna ask the artificers.
I don't have any way to preserve a body, no. It's probably best that we just perhaps hold services here and bury her before, well,
Doc, those manacles, what do they do?
What do you mean? They don't do anything.
Look, let's just go up above, and we'll find lodging for the evening, and we'll figure out what to do for her with Manistrad.
Yeah, that makes
Well,
sense.
there's a bunch of different options. I just don't think any of them are really feasible at this point.
Yeah. Vorn's gonna look at Kahlo and look at Mizia and Doc and says, I think up is good. Getting a rest is good too.
Maybe we should bury her up here if that's what the sister wants.
Let's ask her, huh?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll go see what she says.
All right.
Are the two of you carrying
Yeah.
the body? Then the sister is right there with you and is giving
Okay.
you absolutely the dirtiest look when you're talking about burying her sister.
Okay. Well, then we will not do that.
She looks at you and sort of puts her hand on her sister's body where the silver manacles are clasped in her hand, and just sort of looking right at you, sort of just shakes it enough to make the chain rattle. And Raywin, the gnome medic, just kind of looks up at you and says, the doctor seemed to be implying that the silver from those manacles could be used to pay a cleric to resurrect her. And I'm afraid that idea seems to be firmly lodged within Werid's mind.
Well, if that's what she wants to do, then that's what we'll do.
My concern is for how long. I can do certain things to preserve the body, but she won't allow funerary preparations.
Well then,
But a resurrection, from my understanding, I am just a medical professional and not an arcanist or a cleric, but my understanding is that resurrection can be performed for many decades after a person has deceased. But it is expensive.
let's bring it to the surface.
Perhaps you could help in the... And she kind of says quietly so that Weird probably still hears her, but just sort of respectfully. Perhaps you could help in the construction of the casket.
Yeah, I can help with that.
So, we'll fast forward a little bit as you are all able to make it safely to the surface, back up into the town of Vermalen, where, seeming to have sensed what has happened, or by chance, the clouds have parted and actual blue sky is shining down. Perhaps a bit to your chagrin, Mizia, the sun is shining brightly. And you are able to basically set up a sort of, or rather take over in the mayor's house. There's plenty of rooms in there, plenty of beds. You are able to find the supplies necessary to construct a casket for Wordred. Within the first hour after you've sort of settled into this house, Manistrad comes in to address whoever happens to be around, but says, All right. I was able to contact our offices in Waterdeep, and she sort of is holding up a stone that is in a basically like almost like a leather holster with leather straps, so it can be tied around, worn like a necklace, and says that it's a sending stone. I have contacted for transportation out of Waterdeep. They can be here in about a day and a half. They will be here. Pick us up here in Vermeulen, and they will be able to take you south to Candlekeep if you wish. That'll be another day and a half. And she tells you that the Royal Mining Consortium is sending an airship to Vermeulen to pick you all up. So you have a day and a half. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do besides or before you take a long rest for the night? If not, so go ahead, Vaughn.
No, just going to write in my journal about the attunement process, bonding with the new weapon, and intimate thoughts about hoping Tira is safe and fending alive, still Tira, just that kind of thing.
Mizia.
Yes.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh, 11.
Okay. All right, that's good for the afternoon. Is anybody doing anything else before the evening? Or are you all just taking this time to rest up, or?
If we have 4 hours, like before evening, I would set off to the side and just meditate. So let me get my long rest in, since I only need 4 hours to do it.
Yeah, there's plenty of time. I mean, you guys came up, it's basically early part of the day, still on the 8th of Kythorn.
Okay.
So you'd be able to get the 4 hours while Warren or anybody else is helping to construct the casket and doing other things.
Can I go back a little bit, since as they were walking out with the sister, would I have been able to find a gemstone, been able to pry one off of the wall or anything like that?
I mean,
have you seen anything?
There's a lot of uncut gems. There's nothing that's refined right now, but you could probably with a dagger pry a gemstone or a crystal or something.
Yep, I would have
definitely
looked for
crystal.
Something.
There's a lot more crystal that's obvious. I don't know that you necessarily would have more than book knowledge on what.
Okay. Yeah, I would look for something that crystal and that I could work with.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
And then yes, when we get back up, I'm going to take a 4-hour nap. But when I've completed my rest, I'm going to come back out and I'm going to find the sisters. And I'm just going to go up to what's the one that's still alive?
Weird.
Weird. Weird. You seem set on finding a way to restore your sister. Is that correct?
She sits by her sister's side. I would imagine at this point, the casket has been constructed, but Weird will not allow anyone to place the lid on the casket.
Mhm.
And she's basically just sitting vigil over her sister's body, and she just looks up at you. She looks like she's cried so much that she doesn't even have tears left. But she just slowly nods at you.
I'm going to do something that will help. Do you trust me to take care of your sister?
Make a persuasion check.
I'm going to roll that with advantage. It's a 17.
She seems very hesitant, and she seems to almost move protectively, leaning towards the casket. And then she just reaches in and brushes a lock of hair away from her sister's face, leans back, and just gives you a nod.
So I will just very slowly reach into my satchel, and I pull out my coin purse. I'm going to pull a couple of copper pieces out, and I pull another bag out that has it's like my little cook pouch, and I get some salt from there, and I'm going to just gently sprinkle salt over the forehead of the sister, and put a copper piece over each of her eyes. And I'm just going to place my hand on her forehead, and I'm going to close my eyes and just whisper something in Elvish. And then just take a moment and pause, and then I'll look up and I'll turn to Weird. And I'm casting Gentle Repose as I do this. This will protect her for the next 10 days. Do not move the coins. Leave her be, and she will be just as she is now. And hopefully this will buy you the time that you need to find you the help that she needs. And then I will just quietly walk away.
Is there anything else anyone would like to do?
I'm gonna check on Vorn probably just because I'm a little worried about him. I know that he was close with Tira and that he said, everything will be fine, but I still can I make an inside check to see how he's doing?
I'm gonna, and
Okay.
you can say otherwise, Ricky, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna imagine at this point it's somewhere getting into evening.
Yeah.
There's a couple, maybe at least one fire that's burning out in front of the house, like a campfire or whatever. And with the clear sky of the day and being high in the mountains, you can see more stars than you've ever seen before across the night sky. And I imagine, Kahlo, that's where you find Vorn, is outside the mayor's house looking up into the night sky.
Okay. Just kind of sigh it a little over. You getting your moment out with the stars?
Yeah. Over the years, that's all I've had. When times were weird and strange and tough, I could always look up and know that at least something was consistent.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've traveled often and I like the same thing about the stars. It makes you feel like it's all one big place.
Yeah. And we're all, it's kind of, we're insignificant, but important enough to exist amongst all of this, right?
That's right.
So, what's next for you, Kahlo?
Well, I imagine I'll look for another gig doing what I do. But I'm a little worried for you and your friend.
So you mean killing monsters in ghost towns isn't really your bag?
It's not usually what I do, no.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel. It's never one way about anything, of course, with me. But and I look over at Kahlo, and I kind of drop the facade of toughness, and I go, I don't want to lose another one. I don't want to lose her. You know, beyond whatever we may have, there's goodness in her. And she's a friend, a little bit more to me. Really, the last tether I have to caring it at all about anything. Does that sound bad?
No, I don't think it's necessarily true either. The lot of you all seem to care about each other in some way.
Yeah, but she's the only one I can talk to, you know? Doc is great. Liz is great.
He needs some socializing, I can tell. But it seems like you're all working on that.
I need socializing. Look at me here. And I look over my tusk and, you know, scars and burnt face and everything.
Well,
I guess that's
I
what
might
makes
not
us...
be here long, but you can talk to me while I am.
Well, you've been great. I guess all good things come to an end, huh?
That they do, but I don't think your story with her's at an end yet. I think you're right that she's a fighter, and I've seen the way she looks at you too. And I think she'll be fighting back to you just the same as you'll be fighting to her.
And then we'll fight each other probably.
Probably, but you'll enjoy it.
Can hardly say that. And Vorn kind of looks off into the sky and kind of just... You're a good one, Cal.
You too, Vorn.
And as she says that, Vorn kind of stings, like feels a little bit of poison and venom inside of his veins because he knows what's lurking deep inside as he stares.
I'm gonna reach in my pack and dig around for a substantial amount of time to find something quite small. And it's like a handmade little fishing tackle thing. We talked when we were out fishing the one time.
We sure did, didn't we?
And I'm gonna hold that out and say, "This is for you. Just remember what we talked about the rain and how sometimes it's a good thing too. I know it took to pouring then and it's pouring now in its own way, but sometimes it makes the rest sweeter once you get through it."
And he takes the object to his hand. Is it metal or is it what is it made out of?
Yeah, it'd be a little like made out of metal and then probably like twined together somehow. Mm-hmm. It's very much like homemade.
And he looks
not beautiful, but it's functional.
No. Yeah. He pulls a thick twine of leather out of his satchel and loops it around and figures a way to tie it around his neck. And he goes, "Thank you."
I'll be thinking about you.
And I you, as he holds the necklace in his palm of his hand.
All right, that's pretty much all.
Can we see a shooting star? And never mind.
Yes. Misha, I need a saving throw. Wisdom. Doc, what are you doing as evening approaches?
Doc is seated up against a wall, and he is thinking quietly to himself.
Eventually, night comes. And you are all able to take your full long rests. I would like all of you now to make wisdom saving throws.
22.
You were muted.
Am I making another one?
Yes, this is in addition to the
Okay.
one you just made.
Okay. 17.
Doc is remembering long ago. It's almost as though he's having a recollection of something that happened but didn't. And I got 2019.
Warren, what'd you get? You're muted?
I have a 13.
Sorry, Jake. No, I got a 13.
Okay. So the two of you got 13s. So, Mizia, having had experience with this, by the time night falls, you know that you are feeling the influence of the Shadowfell seeping out of this bag of holding, trying to infuse itself. The longer you hold on to this, the more likely it is that you will succumb to Shadowfell despair, something you have already encountered from your time in the Shadowfell. So you will, as long as you're in possession of this, you will be making periodic wisdom saving throws.
And am I able to identify that that's what's causing it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go to Doc. Yes, Doctor. This bad idea of mine, and I'll gesture at the bag. I've probably got it tied on my hip at this point. Seems to be getting worse. I'm a little concerned that its proximity to us may cause additional Shadowfell unpleasantries. Perhaps you would care to escort me back down where we found it, and I could leave it there until we are ready to use it again?
Oh, sure. No problem at all.
Excellent. And yeah, I would want to take it back into the cavern. If it's going to be super lengthy to get back down there, at least just take it in there and leave it away from us. If not, take it all the way back down to that room.
I mean, to take it all the way back down to the cavern, you're talking like a 30-minute round trip.
Okay, yeah, then I'm fine with that. So, if we do that, do I notice any difference?
You notice it for the night, and then
okay.
If your intention is to take the bag with you, you know that every few hours the Shadowfell, basically, for the purposes of not having you roll constantly, you're basically going to have to roll 3 times a day to see if you are influenced by it, as long as it's in your possession.
Okay. I'm just wanting it to not be in my possession for the evening.
Yep.
While we're figuring out what to do. So yep.
Perfect. So you leave it down there, and somewhere in the night, as you all are, most everybody needs to sleep. Mizia, you find there are not a huge selection. There's a small personal library inside the mayor's house, a few books to occupy your mind. Doc, you need, I don't remember if you need the full 8 or you just need 4.
Just 4.
Are you all going to stay more or less in the same room, or are you spreading out in the house? What's your plan?
Vorn sleeps outside.
I'll probably also sleep outside. I've got a bedroll. Just
I'd just be chilling in the library.
Where are you at, Doc?
Nowhere in particular. Really, anywhere. Not in any particular space.
Well, you're either inside or you're outside.
Oh, inside the house somewhere.
Okay. Multitasking. Mizia, roll me a d10.
It's a 1.
Right. You find in amongst all of the books, as I just picture in the middle of the night, Mizia just wandering around this house, looking at all the books, and most of them are, books on mining, and there's a few fiction books. There's one that looks like Mayor Duvezin was trying their hand at writing fiction. They are not a good writer. But you find in the midst of all these books a dusty tome called the Procesius Esoterica. This particular book is written in parchment, bound in leather, but the hinges and the fittings on this book are all in platinum. And inside it is a number of spells are written. It's possible, looking at this, that you already have these. I'm actually gonna, so that it's easier for you to find later, I'm gonna DM you in Discord.
Okay.
Just that says silver, just replace that with platinum.
Okay.
But all of those spells are written in it. They're all very basic level spells, but what that means is, as a wizard, you can spend time based on your school and whatever, copying spells out into your own spellbook.
Guess what I'm doing while everybody's asleep?
Meanwhile, Vorn, sleeping outside. We see almost from a third person, well, not almost, from a third person point of view, we see down in the cavern where the Shadowfell sack was left. We see almost like dry ice shadow just lightly seeping out of it. But it begins to coalesce a little and begins moving through the caverns, snaking its way up until it exits the main mine entrance and moves kind of roiling across itself, across the ground. And you see almost like this POV view from ground level as it's moving along, and the mayor's house comes into view with the fire burning low, and there's the form of Kahlo sleeping in a bedroll, and it sort of moves past, and momentarily in your sleep, your dreams, Kahlo, turn to nightmares. And then they move over to Vorn. Vorn, I want you to make a Constitution saving throw.
17.
You know how when you're sound asleep and you hear a noise that's just enough to wake you up?
Absolutely.
And then you have
every
that
night.
you have that moment where you're not sure you actually heard the thing you thought you heard. Now couple that with the sensation that somebody is standing nearby. Now you saved, so you do not have sleep paralysis.
Oh my goodness. I've had that in real life and it's
Yeah.
awful.
It is.
I've had that experience plus someone standing next to me while I had sleep paralysis. It's all awful.
Well, the sound that you thought you heard, you hear again. And over by the big tree that's in front of the mayor's house where you found the locket inside where Lucas said it would be, in the shadow, away from the fire, you hear the sound again. The sound of heavy chains. And you catch the firelight glinting off of metal. And it's glinting off of several places where there's metal, and you sense that there is a person standing there in the shadow.
Vorn immediately manifests the queen's hand into his right hand, and the blade is, and he's holding it.
I'm suddenly worried Ricky's going to cut his thumb off on stream.
I won't. It's a dull blade, and I have a second-degree black belt, so I know what I'm doing. So.
Okay.
But it'd be a good stream though. But yeah, I have the blade and I feel it in my hand, and I'm laying still but poised, ready to. My muscles coil up like a serpent, ready to strike if I need to.
As you summon the Hand of the Queen, I'll double check something on that. You, as you summon the blade, you notice that you feel the blade communicating a sense of danger, but it's not the fight or flight sensation. It's the stop, look, and listen. And for a moment, the blade seems to confer some of its own ability of dark vision. And the shadows lose their potency in the night, and everything resolves into a very dim shades of black and white and gray. And you see, standing next to the tree, a bald Shatterkai woman, clad in black leather armor with silver rivets at all of the different places where the segments of leather are connected.
Right.
These segments that go down along her hips, down her legs. She wears knee-high leather boots. You can see some of the the cloth underneath, which is a very deep red, as if somebody washed all of the brightness away from it. Wrapped around each wrist are thick chains, and the sound that you hear as she steps forward is as the chains uncoil 3 or 4 times, so that there's about 3 feet of chain hanging from each wrist. Each segment of chain has 2 spikes coming off of it. And as she steps into where the firelight can catch her, you see the silver wire that is sewing her lips shut.
And I recognize this person, correct?
No,
No, I don't.
you
But I
recognize that she's
the
one of the
silver
silver
wiring.
talons.
Yeah, yeah.
But this
Yeah.
is not
Okay.
Caligextia. This is someone else.
Yeah. Vorin stands up to his feet, and the sword goes back in the sheath, and the shadow kind of dissipates, but it still has the outline of the blade inside the sheath, and he walks towards this person. I don't expect you to speak this time. Yeah. What message do you have for us now? Do you know where Tira is?
I
Okay.
do. You hear in your mind as she communicates telepathically with you.
Is she safe?
No.
How do we get her? How do we help her? Can we help her?
You will be able to help her. At some point. Tira has to make a decision for herself. Until she makes that decision, you won't be able to find her.
Okay.
Even we do not know exactly where she is. But we know that she was taken into the Shadowfell. We believe one of the sisters of Selûne has taken her.
Okay. What message do you have for me? I'm sure you didn't come here just to tell me about things that we can't help or change.
You were warned by one of us before to watch out for the one called Cain Mulgrim. Cain is playing a dangerous game. He is trying to serve both sides. He might succeed, but he is more likely to be torn in two, separated, his soul ripped from his body. That is a choice Cain has made. But, and where it concerns you, Cain's choices have landed Tira where she is now. Where Cain was to be an instrument of the sisterhood, I think they intend to make Tira their servant, willing or otherwise.
How can we stop this? How can we help?
The first part is that Tira must make the decision. Until she reaches out for help, until she calls out for you, you will not, none of us, can know where she is. Whatever magic is obscuring her is too powerful for us. But when she does call out, if she does, you will use the essence of the Shadowfell that your dark elf has captured They are both incredibly wise. Very foolish to have done so. But you will use that. Or there are other ways you can get to the Shadow Bell.
Outside of digging up a child's grave.
Well, that is the one you have proven to be true. But
How does...
no graves need to be desecrated if you carry the Shadowfell Gate with you.
How does it affect Mizia? How will it affect us?
You've been to the Shadowfell. You felt the oppressive nature of it. You are not native to the Shadowfell. It will affect anyone who is not native to the Shadowfell in that way. Soon, the Shadowfell's depressive nature will work its way into your mind and will begin to wear away at your spirit. If you are not strong enough.
What can we do to get ready? And what can we do to resist the influence of it?
Arm yourselves. Not with shadow and steel, though those will help. You have clearly been anointed by the Queen herself. She sees promise in you. You must arm yourself with knowledge. Learn more about the Shadowfell and its nature, so you are ready when your friend calls out to you.
Well, they don't call us the book club for nothing. Your name?
I am Saltator Umbracor.
Can I just call you Sue?
No, you may not.
Oh, jeez. Tata Umbacor.
It's in the side chat.
I see it.
Bornok, know this one thing. No matter how much you learn about the Shadow, no matter how much you and your friends prepare, it will never be enough.
We'll see about that. If Vorn turns his back. Do you have anything else to say to me, Saltor Umbercor?
If you've ever caught yourself talking in your sleep, or you've woken yourself up as you say something out loud, that is what you do now. That's the sensation you have. As you say that last thing, suddenly the sensation of somebody being there with you is gone. And you realize you're speaking into the air out loud, and your voice sort of carries a little bit. I imagine Kahlo just sort of rolls over in their sleep a little bit from that. Soon enough, though, morning comes into the next day. I would like Mizia to make a wisdom saving throw. It is now the 9th of Kythorn. You were muted. If you said anything, I didn't hear you.
It's a 15.
Very
You know
well.
the bag's not with us, right?
I know.
Okay, just making sure.
Partway through this next day, you all begin to hear this sound that I honestly don't know. I don't know if any of you have heard this sound before. I'll leave it up to you to determine if you've heard this sort of approaching from the distance. And you see one of the clouds seems to be moving differently than the other clouds. And as the noise gets louder, the cloud dissipates. And you see what looks to be much smaller than the sinful dragon, but a ship that has, it looks like it could float on the water, but it has a sail rising like a fin up the back, and it has a couple sail-like fins on the side that are slowly moving as this airship is cutting through the air, and you can see this sort of arcane energy shimmering around it as it comes in close and eventually comes over top of the town of Vermalen and near the area where you crested the mountain the other day. This airship settles down and lands, and several dwarves debark from it. About a dozen dwarves come off of this airship, and they immediately begin hauling supplies down. You see that they are bringing carts, and there are several picks and shovels and pickaxes, and Kahlo, you notice that there's about a half a dozen crates marked explosives on them that are brought down. And Manistrad tells you all right, well, this is the airship out of Waterdeep from the Royal Mining Consortium. Kahlo, I have been authorized to offer you foreman of this job. You will oversee the Vermalen mine and the operations here while everything gets set up. Will you accept?
I will. Thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to see this turned into something good instead of all this pain it's caused.
Well, I thought you might say that. So first, here is the official paperwork. And she hands you a rolled up leather scroll that when unfurled, inside is a regular parchment, and it has the legal documents that declare you as the representative of the Royal Mining Consortium. You are the foreman and supervisor of the Vermalen claim. And she also hands you a polished stone in a leather holder that is brought by one of the dwarves, and says this will allow you to keep in touch with the Waterdeep offices, which are the closest. You can communicate for setting up your regular supplies. And she goes on telling you the logistics, basically all that stuff.
Well, Kahlo looks very proud.
Well, these are all your employees. They will be staying here, helping you to set up the mine. And in about a 10-day, the airship will return with more people to begin repairs on the town. But for the time being, Vermalen is left in your charge, Supervisor Kahlo. And
do my best.
We are going to get the others. And she kind of looks over to where Wered is still sitting vigil over her sister's casket. It's only when a couple of dwarves approach that Kahlo, I think you would know that the Rakencrack sisters, that they're friends of theirs, and they share in some grief over the fallen sister, But once these two dwarves show up, only then does she allow the lid by the dwarves to be placed on the casket. And then they carry, as pallbearers, the casket up to the airship. Manistrad says, all of this sort of takes place over the course of, an hour or so. As she tells all of you, well, we're going to take you all back to Candlekeep. It'll take about a day or so to get there. And then we're going to head back to Waterdeep. So, if you would like to say your goodbyes, now is the time to do so.
I'm going to turn to everybody.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ricky.
No, you go first. I'm good.
I walk up to Kahlo. Yes, well, I feel like we didn't get on all that well. I mean, not good, not bad, but you seemed nice enough, and it was a pleasure working with you. And I just wanted to make sure that your assistance was, how much your assistance and companionship these last days has meant to us. And I hand you this sheet of paper. It's been torn out of a book. And it is,
look at it.
You see a sketch of, it's crude, but you can really tell that it's us. It's Tira and Vorn and Doc and me and you. And like you're like in the middle, and we're all kind of in this like half circle around you. It looks like a gifted fifth graders sketch,
Yeah,
kind
that's
of thing.
what I was imagining.
And then it's not much. I'm still learning some of these things, but and
This
also
is so sweet.
yes,
I love it.
Here's the other thing. And again, I ran out of words, so it's kind of incomplete. And I kind of I show you how to kind of like wave your like trace your fingers across the front of it, and you see that it starts to like animate so that the everything's moving a little bit, and then you see these words flash, and like so the drawing of Doc kind of gets darker while everything else fades a little bit, and you see the words goodbye Kahlo, it wasn't unpleasant to meet you. And then Doc fades out, and Vorn's picture fades in. It says, thanks for the comfort during the storm on the ship. And then Doc fades out, and then Tira fades in. It says, oi, thanks, Kahlo. And then that feeds in, and then you see Mijja's picture fade in, and it says, it's been a, and it just kind of fizzles out. I hope this will help you to remember us. I'm sure that we will remember you as well.
I don't think I could forget, but I will definitely keep this. Now, thank you. Well, I don't have anything nice to give to you. Hold on. And I just start rustling through my pack again, taking an extraordinarily long time, looking at things, putting them back in. And then I say, oh, maybe you could use this. And can I... Since I don't think she'll need it, we've got so many supplies. Is it okay if I take out my thermal cube?
Yeah.
Even though it's one of my magic items? Okay, so I'm going to take out my thermal cube and say, do you have one of these?
I don't think so.
You put it down and it creates heat around it, keeps things dry. So if you're working on more pictures or you got any other books you're reading, and you're somewhere where it might be cold or wet, it'll keep you and them all comfortable.
It will keep my books dry in the
Yes.
rain. Oh. And I just like clutch it to my chest.
You can go into your inventory and add thermal cube. Look it up. It is a magic item.
It's a wondrous item. Yep, it's a common item.
Yep.
I will take it off mine.
Doc is going to make sure that the fills and the cart get moved onto the airship, and he's going to walk over to Kahlo, and he's going to say, well,
Usually people follow that up with something.
Right. And he's going to try and fist bump Kahlo.
Oh, what are you doing?
It's like a handshake or.
Oh, we can try that. Here you go.
And then he's going to say, Tira taught me how to do that.
Tira does know quite a few things. I think that'll keep her in a good situation until you'll find her.
And then he's sort of going to look around awkwardly and he's going to say, well, don't die. And then he's going to walk onto the airship.
You don't die either. That one is a strange one.
As he walks onto the airship, he's going to just grumble, oh, it's not so bad.
As they both walk away, Vorn looks at Kahlo and he says, you don't know how much you've meant to me. Thank you. And he has like a small, like little folded piece of paper. And all it is a constellation.
Oh.
And he goes, I can't see this anymore, but I know you can. If you look over in the northern sky, just around midnight or so, and it's a constellation of like the Great Bear constellation, you know, and thank you for everything. And he opens up his arms wide to.
I was gonna say she was gonna be like, "Come here," and give him a big turtle hug, just everything clattering on the back.
Yeah. Yep.
Just pat him and say, "Now you go find her, and you tell her goodbye from me too."
I will. And they say, at least in some ancient orc stories, that the greatest warriors of us join the stars. I know you live a lot longer than I will. Maybe you'll see me up there too one day.
I'll keep an eye out.
And then Vorn gives one last look and does another hug and then walks away. And there is a like slight tear that drops behind his eye. And as he doesn't have crying goggles. But walk up.
Mijia, do you retrieve the shadow sack?
Yes.
Okay.
So don't leave that with me. I don't want it. Thank you.
So you all board the small airship, and down below, Kahlo and the dozen dwarves are watching you all leave. Everybody waving up as the airship lifts off and turns southward, begins traveling back towards Candlekeep. As it does so, we see as the town of Vermeulen near the top of this mountain gets smaller and smaller, and the camera sort of pans back across everyone on board this ship and to Mijia, where the Shadowfell sack is in your possession, and there's just the tiniest wisp of shadow energy spilling out of it. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. That is where we end this book, Book 4, A Deep and Creeping Darkness. And this is where we say bye to Brooke.
That's good. They all the feeling. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been fun.
It was so nice
More
having
than
you
fun. Thank you.
join us for an extended stay. I think I originally said, "Hey, can
You're
you
like,
join us for
one session, maybe
I said
3.
1 to 3 or 4?" And it's been, I don't even know how many sessions you've been.
6 or 7 at least. I think 7.
That sounds about right.
Mhm.
I think 7 is about how long it takes this group to get from point A to point B on just about anything. 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 sessions.
Oh no, it's been 8 because I
Okay.
have notes from each. No, more than that. 8, 9.
Wow. Well, it was all bonus for all of us. We were very glad to have you.
Bonus Kahlo.
As we are watching this tonight on June 27th, next Monday is the 4th of July. I was going to say in the U.S., but it's the 4th of July everywhere. But we are not going to be playing next week. But we will return in 2 weeks, and there will be somebody filling that corner where Kahlo has been, where Brooke has been, as we will be introducing a new member of the book club in 2 weeks. So please be sure to return for that. Thank you, everybody who has tuned in to watch us. We hope you enjoyed. And thank you. If you are somebody who lurks in chat, doesn't like to participate, you just want to hang out and lurk, cool. Thank you. We appreciate that. In just a moment, we're going to rate our friend Tortle, who just ran their first charity stream yesterday, and I did not see how that went. But I tuned in for a little bit.
They raised $550, over $750 with matching donations.
That is fantastic. I know they were doing a very special presentation, and they were raising for Trevor Project, and they were raising for like 4 different organizations. So what I would like you to do when you raid over there is, of course, send the MTD love and tell her congratulations. So we're going to do that in just a moment. But first, I, of course, have to thank all of our awesome players. Gary, even though she's not here, Carrie, Dwight, Ricky, and for the final time for now, Brooke, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want. Metade.